Hi, hello everybody. Welcome to the second tutorial, the second season of the Quadrigram training course about how to create beautiful data stories with Quadrigram. Here we have to Xavi Gomez, that is part of the Quadrigram team, and he's going to help us with the questions and answers. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen. Um, okay, perfect. So in order to use the question and answers, you have to activate it in this panel. Okay, and here in this menu, you'll find a green button where you can click and ask whatever you want, whatever you find interesting. Okay, perfect. So thank you. We're going to start with Quadrigram. Okay, and here we go. We have this is a sorry. I'm going to delete this now. Perfect. So this is a, I have to make some changes, but that's okay. This is more or less the project that we did in the previous season, okay? So here we find probably a different color, and these visualizer are not linked. This is about a test that I use, okay? But here we go. That's sorry. That's okay. And had the dollars. Perfect without colors. Okay. This is more or less the project that we left on the previous lesson. Okay. And now we are going to start how to add images to this project. Okay, so for instance, if I want to add a new section to my data story, the first that I need is to duplicate the title, and here, for instance, I can write. It's important that each section has a title, and we are going to learn how to do it in this lesson. A legend and a text that contextualize it, okay? So I'm going to make it bigger the screen to help you, and I have to say that here I have some texts that I prepared that I write in order to make a shape to the data story, and I think that this is a good exercise. If in a document, in a Word or whatever, you create a kind of index with some contents, and after that you use them to build your data visualization. So I'm going to build here, I'm going to write here a new section. This is going to be called PISA results. Remember, PISA is an exam that the OECD makes to students around the world on different countries. And we are going to add an image that shows in a choropleth the results on different countries. Okay, so we write PISA results by country. Perfect, and I'm going to drag and drop from here, from the media group of components, the image. So if I draw my image, make it bigger. Okay. Now I can load in the Biz Inspector, in the chart inspector, the URL. I could, for instance, if I search network in Google Images, I'm going to take one of these images randomly. Okay, maybe this is enough. If I get the URL, probably. Now the Google doesn't allow to get this kind of image, but I can use the original. Okay, and so I'm going to load this image. Here we have it is a really heavy image, and my internet seems that with the Hangout is not going really quick, but the image at the end is loaded. Okay, but I can load an image from my local drive. Okay, so for instance, if I have an image in a local folder, I made this exercise several times. That's why I have a lot of maps of that are repeated. So if I load the image, I can click here to open, and a new copy of the same image is going to be uploaded. Okay, that's not really clever, but it's just to show you how you can upload images to this panel. So I load this image that is stored in my Google Drive, and here we have the PISA results by country coupled. So we have different image scaling modes. The first is cover, that preserve the same relations between the width and height of the image, and if the proportions of the viewer of the component are different, it is going to crop the image. Okay. We can use, instead of this image scaling mode, the content mode. So in this case, the image is going to be shown show always the whole open, okay, or the whole image, but we are going to have blank spaces like this that are going to that are needed to preserve the same ratio. Another image scaling mode is to distort the image, okay? And at the end, I can preserve the original size of the image. I'm going to let the cover mode and try to get to the image the proper, more or less the proper proportions between the width and height. That's great. That's how we can load an image, okay? Perfect. What else? For instance, we can add a section at the end of the graphs, okay? I don't like the size of this title. Maybe I need 24, like this. This is important because it is to constrain to maintain the hierarchy of the data story, okay? So I'm going to add it bold. That's perfect. And now I'm going to duplicate this title. Remember that in order to duplicate, you have to keep pulse the letter D from Denmark and drag and drop, and a new title will appear. Okay. So I'm going to put it here. and I'm going to write a new section about the new education paradigms and are. So what I did, I'm going to duplicate here to, or better than this, I can drag and drop a body text, and here I write about a YouTube video that I found about Sir Ken Robinson that is changing the education paradigms. Okay, so I can, for instance, copy and paste this content. I lost the Roboto font and I want to maintain it. Okay, and if I want to mark as bold this subtext, can do it on this way. And here start the interesting the interesting feature, that is that I can drag and drop a video. That's great. So I load a video, and if I get from YouTube, I don't know, a URL, whatever it is, about education. Here we have. So if I put the URL in the YouTube video, here in the piece inspector, okay, and enter, I get the video, okay. I'm going to write this URL because it's a URL that I am interested in a place on this section. Okay, so here we have a new section that instead of having any chart, we have a video that explain how the new education paradigms should change. Perfect. At the end, I want to show you, for instance, another section where here we are going to write about the source data of women of women teachers by country. And this is a table that I get from the OECD. I'm going to show you the original. Okay, is this URL. So if I copy and paste here this table, I have the percentage of women that are teachers for each level of education. Okay, so instead of download the graph, download the data and place it in a Google spreadsheet, I'm going to show this table. Okay, so I can embed with the iframe this table, these results. Okay, so it's as easy as paste the URL here, and here we have the whole table, okay, to be displayed. That's great. Now we have a new section that is using an embed source. Here we have we can use whatever chart that you prefer from other tools. Like for instance, I don't know, CartoDB, that is a company specialized on maps. You can prefer to make a custom map in CartoDB and the output to embed in this chart. Okay. So That's the way to use the image, the videos, and the iframes. Now I want to show you how to assign meaningful colors to all the charts, and that these colors are coherent between the graphs. The bar chart, the line chart, and the tree map are going to have the same colors. Okay. So I don't know if there are any doubt up to now. Okay. Some article that says about to make a full screener the screen, but I think that up to here everything is clear. You can ask in whatever moment, and I'll try to answer you as soon as I can. Okay. So perfect. In order to assign colors, to assign properly colors, you have to go to the Style tab, and on the Fill Color property, probably you'll find a property like this where you can change the color of all the bars, and you can create, here we go, a color for each country. Perfect. But maybe this is okay. The rest of colors are just the first color. Okay. So maybe this is not the way that you want to use colors. Okay. Maybe it's better for you to use another of the formats that this property offers. Like for instance, you can assign different colors from a scale of colors. Okay, you have a different range of colors, and you can choose the scale that you prefer, and colors are going to be distributed sequentially. Okay, in an order: the first color, the second color, and that's okay. But maybe you need a more smart system to assign colors. For instance, if you want to assign a colors by value, you can use this format where now you can, for instance, assign another dimension different that the source of the bar chart, that here is upper secondary. So instead of use this chart, you can use for the colors, for instance, the percentage of women that has university degree. This is good, okay? So if I assign a scale that low values are red and high values are green, for instance, I can check that Estonia has a high percentage of women with a high degree, and Turkey has a low level. Okay, for instance, Spain has a small percentage of people with a secondary degree, but it has a high level of women, and in this case we can find like differences in the sequence, and maybe this could be useful for us. Okay. That's great. We have a default color that if we don't have the value that we need here, so the default color is going to be assigned. Okay. Great. This is, as you can see, this is more interesting. But the final format that I want to show you is the colors by category format. This format allows us to, for instance, okay. it's not changing because probably we have a different. I was trying some things here in this space, so probably it's not working. I'm going to reset it. That's great. So perfect. That's because I was working in assigning color categories, and that was the difference. So here in category, here we have the colors by category format that it will appear for you, and you'll have a slot for categories, a slot for colors, and a slot for a default color. As we didn't have any categories or any colors, the default color is the main color for the only color for the single color for all the parts, okay? But you can assign categories. What are categories? Categories is, for instance, a column like region where for each item we have different categories, different groups, okay? So this say that Korea belongs to the group Asia Oriental and Belgium to Central Europe. Sorry, because these names are in Spanish and I always forget to translate, but I think that is easy to understand. Central Europe is really similar. So I'm going to drag and drop here a region, and now I can assign for each category that I list, I can assign color for Asia Oriental, a color for North Europe, a color for um, near Middle Orient, a color for Latin America, a color for I don't know, Central Europe, here up to the end. If I didn't add a color for a country, I have here Asia Oriental, okay? Have the basic color. Perfect. So check that like maybe it's boring to assign a color for each country here, or that you want to control it out of Quadrigram. I can load a different sheet of the same file, countries context, a different tab that is here called colors of region. So now I can introduce this column, this slot, and now the color changes, okay? So now I have the colors grouped by, for instance, continent, like United States and Canada red, Mexico is like pink, Turkey green, Saudi Arabia is green, and that's all. So, sorry. Okay. So now I want to add a legend. So the legend is the first control that we are going to learn how to use, okay? So I'm going to drag a legend here. And I'm going to assign the colors of this chart to the legend. How can I do this? Okay, every component in Quadrigram, including controls or charts or media, every control has outputs. The outputs are the blocks of information that shows what is the state of each component. Okay, so each component has different properties that help us to modify the state of each component, but each component has outputs, okay? You can find the outputs of the charts in, for instance, in the managed data outputs, and here you have your different charts, or easier than this, you can click in this icon to connect. This is going to show you the outputs. So what outputs could we find, for instance, in a bar chart? Can find the selected IDs. These are what countries are highlighted. For instance, now we have Turkey, Mexico, Iceland, Australia, Belgium. So we can get these selected IDs and we can assign them to other charts. Okay, we have the selected values. What is the difference? The selected IDs say what is the item that is selected, and the selected values are going to show us what is the value linked with this country. Okay, we have the hovered item that if I am not mouse hovering the items is going to be empty, but if I mouse over the elements, this is going to change. It allows us to use the over to interact to connect different components. Okay. And at the end, we have the styles of the colors of categories, the colors of items, and the colors of selection. Okay, that are the colors that we assign for each category, the colors that we assign for the color items. If I double click and inspect the content of each block, here I can see what is the value from each region. What is the color? So I can assign this block in the legend control. Here we have the legend, so now it's easier for us to understand what is the linked country. And if, for instance, now I can change the font family. Okay. And using the controls, I can do the same that I can use the outputs to assign the colors, the same colors that I have in the bar chart, to other charts. For instance, if I want to assign these colors to the line chart, now in a style, I can drag and drop, check that I have in outputs the bar chart selected. I have the selected chart is the bar chart. So now I can drag and drop the colors of items, okay? Not colors of categories of the regions, the colors of items, because each line is a country. So if I drag and drop here, here we have the countries, okay? To remove the select, try to avoid this, and that's okay. Same with the select, that's okay. So check that now I can duplicate the legend control, okay? Making using the D and the D key, okay, D from Denmark, and drag and dropping. And now I can place whatever I prefer the legend. So as easy as this, I have a legend that is to the line chart. Okay. So for instance, I can do the same with the tree map. Okay. Can assign in the style the same colors of items of the bar chart. Here the bar chart selected, and I drag and drop the output of colors of items to this property. Check that outputs are going to be blocks from outputs are going to be green blocks. Blocks from the data are going to be like this orange color, and blocks from the formulas that we'll check in the next lesson are going to be red. Okay. So, and blue blocks are the default blocks that you'll find in the Beans inspector. Okay, so we can duplicate as we did for the line chart to the tree map. That's okay. And now we have a layout with the same colors for the from the bar chart to the tree map, and with a legend that contextualizes the chart. Okay. So I don't know if there are any questions. Okay. Just I want to add to this video that if you have doubts during this course and you are watching this video not on live, you are watching after the class, you can ask whatever doubt that you have at quadrigram.com community, okay, in this section. Here we'll be really happy to answer whatever doubt that you have. We started this section about 2 weeks ago, and we had a lot of questions, and we are really happy to help you. So now what I propose you is to we are going to synchronize the highlighted elements, the highlighted items on each chart that are going to be synchronized. Okay, we are going to have the same elements in the bar chart, in the line chart, and in the trim, the same selected items. Okay, this is really easy. You have to make a chain between charts, among charts, okay? For instance, this chain is that you have to connect the output, the selected IDs outputs of the bar chart on the select IDs of the selected items of the line chart. Selected IDs of the selected items. So if you drag and drop the block, like if we double click in this blog and open the content of the blog, we can check what countries are selected, and as easy as this, we can do it, okay? So if I add now United States and Canada that are red and are easy to find, here we have the 2 lines, okay? Great. That's the way that it works. So in order to have every chart synchronized, what we can do is, for instance, is to connect the bar chart outputs in the data property line chart and follow the chain, okay? We can now, the outputs of the selected IDs of from the line chart, we can connect them to the tree map. That's okay. And check that you have the same selection mode. I have for every chart the selection mode as multiple selection, okay? So if we add another countries, I can add, okay, that's what the same countries that I have in this chart are going to be highlighted in this other chart, and I can interact the same way with the line chart, and everything is going to work, okay? So at the end, look, check that if I change the selected IDs from the tree map, maybe are not changing, and what I have to do is to assign the selected IDs to the bar chart. So have from the previous lesson the selected IDs, but just check it. Drag and drop the selected IDs to this property, and now it is going to work, okay? Perfect. So this is how we can link the selection among different charts. And we can use a data visualization technique that is called brushing, that is use a chart to control what data we want to display in other chart. For instance, I'm going to assign the donut chart, okay? Just to show you, no, or even better, a pictogram. I'm going to assign you a pictogram. So that is this representation. To make it bigger, that's great. And I'm going to, as we did in the other graphs, I'm going to assign the colors from the output, okay? The bar chart output. And now what I'm going to assign as data is the selected values. Check that here we have the values but just of the countries that are highlighted, just of the countries that are selected. So if I drag and drop this block, here I have the different values for each country if we are interested in make this, okay? So if I change and I add different countries, it is going to change, okay? This could be interesting. For instance, we can watch, we can see the same kind of chart in the selected values, okay? In another bar chart to assign same colors of items, and now I can control the countries that are displayed on the second bar chart and on the pictogram. Great. Don't know if we have any doubt. Perfect. So if you are watching this video after the class, remember that you can ask us questions, whatever you want, at the community section, and here you'll find probably the answer of your doubt, okay? Because we had a lot of questions, and maybe some of these questions or answers from our users could help you, okay? And we have the blog where where you'll find, I don't know, articles, editorial articles, and news about the tool, examples, or whatever you are interested on. Okay, interested. Okay, great. What else? We can control the bar chart. Okay, the range of the bar chart using a control. For instance, we can add a slider. Okay, if I drag and drop a slider, I have a horizontal slider. If I want to make it vertical, I have to change the shape. Okay, that's great. And I'm going to add it here. Probably not as big. That's great. So now I can control this bar chart that are showing representing a percentage. So it can take values from a range. Okay, for instance, from 50 up to 100% with a step of 5. Okay, the step is going to click here on preview to display how the project is going to feel when I publish it. Okay, so it's going to move 5 to 5. Okay, you can change it. Okay, 5 to 5, and I'm going to assign a initial value of 100. Okay, great. So I'm going to use the output of this slider, that is the position, to control on the properties axis what is the visible range of the y-axis. That's the maximum. So if I change this, okay, and I click on preview, now I can change I can let to my audience to change the range. Okay, we have another amazing feature. Okay, we leave it, like for instance the line chart. So here in axis we can allow to the graph to use pan and zoom. Okay, so if I choose X and Y, for instance, now with this chart with the mouse wheel, I can zoom the chart. Okay, and I can analyze what section from the range I am interested to. And as you can see, you can follow it in the axis. If you prefer to allow to people to only explore the Y values, you can choose in the pan and zoom property. So now you can, the years are frozen, but you can change the Y axis. Okay, great. Perfect. So now we are going to learn how to publish um, a project. Okay, it is really easy. We have to click here in the top left menu with on the publish button, and here in this pop-up we have different publish options. Okay, we can publish as a web, we can publish for embedding, and we can download the source code. Okay, the HTML5, code. So if we click here in publish as a web, we start a wizard, like a page where some questions, some fields have to be filled. Like for instance, this URL, we can change the name of the publication. Like for instance, education PISA results. And this is going to be the URL on the Quadrigram hosting. Okay, we offer up to 12 projects in the Quadrigram hosting. You can describe your project. That's great in order to make it easy to share and to find in Google. Okay. For instance, I can take this content. We have a limit of 160 characters, I think. So this could be a good description, and we can add advanced settings. Okay, like you can upload an image. This image will be shown like when you share this URL on Facebook or on Twitter, and this is great. And we are and you can add a password in order to protect your project, your publication. So although somebody get the URL, it is needed to know the password to access to the project. Okay, this is a private option, and you can keep your data in source on Google Drive, and this is going to be great if you want to, for instance, to change your data in a Google spreadsheet, and that this data is updated in your publication. Okay. If you don't check the keep data source on Google Drive, if your data are going to be static, we can optimize it in the process, so it is going to be fast. Okay, that's the other part of the story. And now it is going to be really quick. We are going to publish it. So here we go. In just a few seconds, we obtain the publication. It is really fast. Okay, so we can share this URL, or we can click on go to URL, go to the URL, and we have the publication where we can work, and it is ready now to share with your audience. Okay, here we have all the tricks that we learn during the lesson, the today's lesson. Okay, great. So next week we are going to learn how to use the formulas and how to use more controls and say and make and become even richer the interaction with the user and the interaction among components in the representation of our data story. Okay. So thank you very much. I'll send an exercise about this lesson via mail to the people that is registered in the course, or and I'll update the same exercise in the YouTube description and Hangout description just to the people that after the course also they are not doing it on live, they want to complete it. Okay. And if you follow the project and you get to complete some exercise, please share us the publication. We'll be happy to, I don't know, to answer whatever doubt that you have at the community. And you can write a post with the publication that you did following this course, or you can send us through the formula, through the form that we have in the website. So that's everything for today. I am really happy to teach you, and thank you very much for listening and for interest for having this interest in Quadrigram. Thank you. See you on next lesson. Bye.